And we're live.
Kim just texted me saying that apparently she's asking us to come in early because
of course
2 batches of RMVs.
Bum bum bum.
Plus, on top of that, we got an email from Clear Capital today asking us, "Hey, how come you have more late times now? And how come you're not accepting as many orders as before?"
Because there's only 2 of you.
And I'm like, ah! And all of that, on top of literally all of that, Victor is in Reno right now visiting Clear Capital's offices.
Bum bum bum. I should ask him in person. With that out of the way.
Ah! That was my day today.
And
Hi!
our day today is going to be packed.
Hello, welcome.
Oh, what's up? What's up?
An exciting, energetic edition of the Media Boat Podcast.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it.
That's one way of putting it. The Media Boat Podcast is a podcast about movies, television, video games, and music. Not necessarily in that order.
Oh, but you know it is.
Today is January the 22nd, 2020. 2020, if you will.
Wait, is it really?
It's the 22nd.
Oh, is it really?
It's the 22nd.
12220?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Not
a palindrome.
No, it's not. My name is Matt. His name is Mike.
I'm Mike. He's Matt. We got some thoughts for you guys. Oh, do we have some thoughts for you guys?
Yeah, but we'll get that later in the show. We go in order here, and the first thing we talk about is movies, and the first thing we talk about with movies is the weekend box office numbers.
We're just going to just jump right into it?
Jump right into it.
Right in? Just 1 minute in? Just jump
1 minute in.
All right,
That's how
then.
this rolls.
Okay.
So, your box office this week was dominated, as we figured it would be, by one of your new releases, Bad Boys for Life.
But made a lot more than I thought it was going to make.
Yeah, Bad Boys 3 Life. A lot of people must have been waiting for that because it made $73 million in its first weekend. Way above what we had it at.
Well, that is the MLK weekend results.
Right, yes. So those are weekend totals.
So it's a 4-day weekend.
Yeah.
3-day weekend?
Benefited from the extra day.
Yeah, 3-day weekend results.
So yeah, that was easily your number 1 movie. As the next runner-up, number 2, was Dolittle, the Robert Downey Jr. Dr. Dolittle movie.
I think it's picking up that, which is why it's kind of overblowing us.
Maybe. But yeah.
Yeah, that works.
That was your number 2 movie, coming in with $28 million. And number 3, 1917, another
16,
26.
15, 14, 13.
No.
11,
No.
10. No?
Stop it.
Oh.
No. The movie 1917.
15, 13.
Was number 3 with another $26 million. That's at $81 million.
I will be seeing that this weekend.
All right. So
at some point.
Next week. Number 4, Jumanji 2, The Next Level. $12 million. That's at $273 million domestic.
Yeah, I mean, that might not cross 300, but still a sizable chunk of change there.
For sure. And then coming in at number 5, wrapping up your top 5, Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. $10 million, adding to its $494 million total. That will get to 5.
That will get to 5 next weekend.
Yeah.
Wait, what did it hit this weekend? 10 million?
10 million.
So yeah, another 5
It'll
million.
Get another 5 easily.
Within the week and then the weekend, yeah. So next weekend it will be one of the handfuls to cross the 500 million domestic mark.
But if none of those movies pique your interest, well, we have some new releases this week.
All right, what am I watching?
First up, The Last Full Measure.
This is another war film.
Okay.
It stars a relatively good cast, if I remember correctly.
Oh, that's good. I love relatively good cast.
It's a relatively, it's one of those things where you're like, oh yeah, I like all those actors. But this is also one of those films where it's like, oh yeah, this is one of those long drawn out post-war films.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, we have The Gentleman.
Yes, he is. The Gentleman.
What is The Gentleman?
This one stars Matthew McConaughey. Hey.
Of course.
By Guy Ritchie? It's a Guy Ritchie film.
Oh, it's that one. I
one.
saw a post, not a poster, a billboard for this.
Yes, this is a Guy Ritchie film.
Got it.
And Matthew McConaughey and action?
I guess.
Or swindling, I guess?
Something.
I'm not sure. Something like that.
Both, maybe. And
Why
lastly,
not both?
Lastly, The Turning.
This is your horror film.
So I know nothing about this except for its soundtrack.
I know nothing about this. Full stop.
Because apparently, like, a lot of bands that I'm familiar with are doing the soundtrack for this thing.
Oh.
Yeah, weird, because it's a horror movie and you wouldn't think that it would need a soundtrack done by, like, contemporary artists, but here we are.
Okay, well, that's a horror film, so...
Yeah, so they're turning.
Be horrified.
I'm horrified already. Those are new releases this week.
Alright, so I plan on seeing 1917 this week. And if I can find it somewhere, which I probably can if I look hard enough, I might check out Parasite this weekend.
Okay, yeah.
And that's because of our first story.
Well, before we get to that, do you have any thoughts? Did you see any movies this week?
No. Did you?
I technically saw a movie, but it was released in 2019.
What'd you see?
We watched Booksmart.
Oh, the comedy Booksmart.
Yeah, it's actually pretty great. It's on Hulu.
That's what I've heard. It's actually pretty great.
You should watch it.
I should watch it.
Kristen should watch that. It's pretty funny.
Okay. Well, then on that account, I started watching Marriage Story.
Started.
Yes.
Did not finish.
I got 5 minutes into it. No, I got 5 minutes into it until I heard a voice from the other room saying, "Hey, I want to watch that too."
I see. Okay.
So I had to stop it and wait.
Yeah, I'll get to that at some point as well. But yeah, moving into our first story here.
So like I said, I plan on seeing Parasite this weekend.
So yeah, Korean thriller Parasite made history this week by becoming the first foreign language film to win Best Motion Picture Cast at the SAG Awards.
What?
So if you've been listening to this podcast for more than a few years, you would know that the SAG Awards Cast Award is usually a early indicator of what will win Best Picture at the Oscars. The reason for this
is because the actors are one of the biggest voting blocks
in the Academy. So 8 out of 10 of the last Best Picture winners have also won this award. Mm-hmm. So it's not a guarantee, but at least it's like it's encouragement.
You got that extra 10% bump.
Yeah.
In your stock there.
So yeah, this kind of puts the film in the driver's seat compared to the others. Other winners,
which we already knew was going to win. It's going to win Best Foreign Language Film,
Best International Film.
International
I believe
film
is what it's called this year. But yeah. Meanwhile, at the SAG Awards, other winners include Renee Zellweger for Judy.
That's basically
favorite
on lock right now.
Joaquin Phoenix for Joker, also
on lock right now.
And Brad Pitt and Laura Dern for their supporting roles.
Also pretty much unlocked.
Meanwhile, 1917 wore the Producers Guild Award the same weekend.
Yeah, so this puts it in an interesting aspect because I think a lot of people will vote 1917 or at least rank it high because
I think 1917 has a stronger chance than Parasite in my opinion.
Yes.
Even with the SAG win, I think that Parasite's going to be an uphill battle against the others in Best Picture. Because I don't think that even beyond the actors, I don't think a whole lot of the Academy has seen Parasite.
No.
That's my guess.
Yes. Also, it's a foreign language film, which automatically puts it into a disadvantage.
As we know from last year.
Yes. And then Irishman and Marriage Story, even though they were pretty big in award nominations, and Marriage Story especially with the Gotham Awards, both of them are Netflix films, and the Academy hates Netflix. So those two are automatically down, and then Parasite is automatically down.
So 1917 is looking really good if you're a betting person this year. Well, I'm just going to put it that way. If you're putting money on these, which I'm not this year, unlike last year, I would probably put my money on 1917 so far.
Yeah. I mean, the other ones are going to be, what, Joker? And Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
I don't think Joker has a chance. I think Once Upon a Time is the more realistic rival for 1917.
The Green Book, you could say?
Yeah, I'd say that could be your surprise.
Where it's no one's number one, but it's everyone's number 3.
Yeah, exactly. And basically everything else cancels out.
Yeah.
I could imagine that happening.
I can see that happening.
Tarantino getting that Best Picture?
I could see that happening.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
We've got a couple more weeks for that to happen, so stay tuned.
Yep. I'm not sure there's any more major awards up until then. I think maybe we're writing.
Yeah, I don't know.
WGA has their awards coming up.
I have no idea.
I think pretty much
this is just the free fall to the Oscars.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to our second story here. This is a little bit of house cleanup over at Disney.
So, as was one of our major stories of the past let's just call it 2 years.
Yeah.
Disney bought 20th Century Fox. And as such, everyone wondered what they were going to do with the acquisition.
So yeah, we had talked about this a handful of times around the talk about the acquisition, about like whether they're going to keep the branding or whether they were going to absorb the studios kind of into the Disney brand.
Right, as we had mentioned, that 20th Century Fox had a legacy of a name.
So here's what they're going to do. So the two main studios that they got from this, 20th Century Films and Fox Searchlight, both are getting the Fox dropped from their names.
Bum, bum, bum. The mouse killed the...
Bum, 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 bum.
Bum, 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 bum.
Okay.
Yes. The fanfare will still be there, apparently.
I mean, they can't get rid of something that iconic.
No.
So that's why they're keeping most of those names without the Fox. Email addresses have been changed for Searchlight staffers, which kind of gave it away, with the Fox.com address replaced with SearchlightPictures.com. Basically suggesting that they'll just be Searchlight Pictures.
So this is their new Miramax.
Basically, or more accurately...
Touchstone?
They're... I don't know. Anyway, higher quality than those.
Well, yes.
The last
and
film,
not as seedy.
Yeah, the last film to have the old Searchlight banner, logo, will be The Call of the Wild with Harrison Ford, which is coming soon.
Yeah, with CGI dog.
Yeah, with CGI dog. One insider put it, quote, "I think the Fox name means Murdoch, and that is toxic."
I think they're right.
On the TV side, however, no final decisions have been made about adjusting the monikers for 20th Century Fox Television. I would bet that that's because they still work pretty closely in tandem with the actual Fox networks.
Right. I think as long as the Fox network and Fox brand still there.
There's enough crossover there for them not to really change it. But the movies are wholly owned to Disney subsidiary. There's no reason for them to keep the Fox.
Yes.
And calling it 20th Century Pictures, I think that's fine.
I'm fine with this.
It harkens back to when they were two separate studios that merged, in fact. When it was just 20th Century and Fox.
Yes, but, how many people are actually going to know about that?
We had a little piece of paper that says we know that. But yes,
for the majority of the populace out there.
But yeah, I think this is smart. Not only does Fox remind people of Murdoch, but it also reminds people of Fox News. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure Disney has reason to get away from that.
Yes, but I also have reason to maybe stay, depending on what happens. And that's why the TV side might
But again,
be
like that's, I think, because of the Fox network has such name recognition. And stuff is still pretty produced there for that network.
Right, but this is still a Disney-owned company. I wonder if it'll say a Disney-owned company underneath it.
Something like that, I'm sure. Something will indicate a Walt Disney company or something like that.
Right.
All right, let's move on.
Much like it always says, like a Comcast network or Sony Pictures.
They'll do something like that.
Yeah.
All right, because I think as it stands now, it says a News Corp something underneath that, which is no longer accurate. So.
Right.
All right.
I think that's it, right?
That's it for movies. So let's move into television.
Yeah, I think we're good. I don't have anything else to think of.
Always start television with the Sports Corner.
Oh, we're just going to run right through this thing.
Slightly slower sports week than last week, which was brimming with sports. This week, just a handful of stories here. The McGregor Cowboy fight, ended predictably within less than a minute. 40
seconds.
So how'd you guys have fun at that party? Were you guys disappointed?
We watched it from 4 o'clock till it ended at 10:30 in 5 minutes.
Why?
Why? Because we watched all the undercards and we had paid for it.
So you paid for it. You were already invested.
We're going to okay, we're going to watch this and we're going to be wholly invested in the UFC by the end of this thing. And
so did it happen?
Yeah.
You're invested?
We were pretty invested by the time we got to the end. There were some good fights leading up to it. The big lady fight was boring AF. All they do was they both watched the McGregor-Pacquiao fight and just danced around. Or sorry, Mayweather-Pacquiao fight. Just danced around and didn't barely hit each other. And when they did, they were trying to grapple each other. Yeah. Which was just basically them trying to hug it out and no one giving an inch. So it was just stalemate of two girls hugging in the octagon.
It sounds like a stalemate I can endorse.
Maybe, but when you want something to happen, like even the audience started booing.
Yeah, wow.
But the other undercard lady fight was great because one of them got their nose broken.
Ooh, no, ooh.
Speaking of getting their nose broken, that's how McGregor won. He took his shoulder to the guy's nose, just had him held in his foot,
Ow. Yikes.
and basically, broke his nose, gave him a good kick to the head, and then went down.
All right, well that happened.
Yeah.
But what else happened this week, though,
UFC
that matters a little bit more than that?
Yeah, there's some other fights throughout the year, but UFC 250 will be coming sometime this summer.
Good to know.
So look out for that.
But most of you were probably not paying attention to that. Most of you were celebrating or not celebrating your football teams as we have our Super Bowl ready and set.
And neither of these teams did I pick to win.
Botched the call
I went
here.
0 for 2.
You didn't name either of these, but your Super Bowl will be the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers.
In the red Super Bowl.
In Miami.
Yes.
So you'll have a white team. Right?
Well, yes. The 49ers have already come out and said they're going to wear their classic 1985 all-white jerseys.
Cool.
Because that was also the last time they were in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
No, that's not the last time in the Super Bowl. That's the last time they won a Super Bowl.
Got it. So that's good luck.
Because they were in the Super Bowl a couple years ago against the Ravens.
Right, and that did not end very well from them.
I mean, it almost did, but then the lights went out.
Yeah,
and
the
then,
lights went out.
Yeah, that was that Super
That
Bowl.
was that year.
Ray Lewis won the Super Bowl and rode off into the sunset.
Honestly, I'm okay with this. This sounds like a potentially interesting Super Bowl. It's got 2 quarterbacks that people are very mixed about.
It's funny how everyone talks about the quarterbacks when they also have literally the top 2 tight ends on both sides of the ball.
There's that too, so we'll see.
Yeah.
It'll be an entertaining game.
I hope so.
I hope so.
I think if I had to call it right now...
Call it in the air.
I will say, solely based on the Madden curse, that the 49ers are going to win. And it pains me to say that.
All right.
But solely based on the Madden curse, that Patrick Mahomes will not win.
Well, we will
the Super
see.
Bowl.
But of course, in between the championship games and the Super Bowl is the Pro Bowl, and that happens this weekend.
Yeah, but who cares about the Pro Bowl?
Who cares about the Pro Bowl? Moving on, baseball exploded this week.
Oh, did it?
Yes.
I mean, we talked about it last week. It was literally our story last week.
If that was the earthquake, then we had aftershocks this week.
All right, so what was the aftershock this week?
Well, the main thing is the league basically said up and down there's no plans to strip the Astros and Red Sox of World Series trophies.
Yes, in which everyone basically said, well, are you going to do anything,
There was
Manfred?
There was also maybe some scuttlebutt that I'm choosing to question here, that a lot of fans are also choosing to question, about Mike Trout, that I'm not going to go into here.
I haven't seen any of this.
You didn't see this?
No.
Okay. A son of somebody posted on social media about what he knew about all of this stuff, and part of it was he was saying that Mike Trout takes human growth hormone for some sort of health issue, and that the league is trying to brush it under the carpet. But who knows if that's actually accurate? It may just be somebody bitter about what's happening with the Astros.
Maybe they are in the same division.
So who knows whether that's legit or not?
Yeah.
But man, like the baseball discourse was in flames this week because of that and everything else.
Yeah, okay.
But there was some good news coming out of baseball, though. The MLB Hall of Fame.
Good news. This was bad news.
Well, I mean, for some people. Not for everyone. Larry Walker and Derek Jeter.
Yeah. The internet is currently on a manhunt right now to find Derek Jeter's one person who didn't vote for him. He was 99.7% in the Hall of Fame. He would have been the second 100%er. The MLB stats had him going into the voting as 100%. This was his first year of eligibility. Everyone had him at 100%, basically a guaranteed lock.
Nope.
And then one One guy or girl, I don't know.
Who knows?
Who knows? One person out there decided that based on their stigma of a rule that no one should ever get in on the first time, despite them probably despite them absolutely voting for Mariano Rivera when he was up, decided to vote no for Derek Jeter.
Well.
And so now the internet is wild aflame trying to figure out who it is that said no. My guess, it is some bitter Boston fan.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, so that's something.
But yeah, only 2 in going to Cooperstown this year.
Yeah. But lastly, in sports this week, the Australian Open. Now, I ask this every time because you never specify.
Yes.
Is this tennis? Is this golf? Or is this surfing?
This is the tennis one.
Thank you.
Yes. Coco Gauff beat Venus Williams again. Because we talked about this exact thing last year at the same time where she won and basically made a name for herself. But yeah, she did it again this year, proving it was no fluke. Moving on. Also, due to the... This is a little asterisk note, but due to the Australian wildfires that have been burning and continue to burn,
right?
The air quality is, as you expect, not the best.
Yeah.
Therefore, they've left it in the referee's hands of whether to call a game due to quality and safety issues.
That's smart for health reasons.
Yeah, because Australia has dangerous winds from time to time that could blow any which way. They have decided, instead of just basically announcing day of no games will be played, they're going to leave it up to the refs to decide.
Yeah, that's probably smart.
It's a safe call. I mean, they could just say, well, we're going to check it day by day. You may not be playing, but then again, that pushes schedules back and influx, and it's like, oh, well, turns out we didn't get it. It was like,
That makes sense. It makes plenty of sense to me.
Yeah, but it's good that they're taking initiative of making this call.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So, anything else in sports before we move on to our first television story proper?
Anything else in sports? No. Well, going off of what the MLB said, or Manfred said about not taking away the World Series,
right?
The Astros organization has said that the players has said they will make a statement, but at the beginning of spring training,
of course,
which is a month away.
I mean, in a way, that's probably smart because it's when people start paying attention again.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of weird that they're waiting.
Yeah, but also expect them to get a bunch of balls thrown at their head and being hit on purpose.
Yeah, I don't want to. Let's make it a point to not go to an Astros game when they're in town.
You sure? Well, what if it's like a Rally Monkey giveaway?
Rally monkeys above all.
Yes.
Your opinion here.
Rally monkeys above all.
We'll see. Anyway, that's it for sports, but we have a sports entertainment story next.
We have an all entertainment wrestling story.
So if you're bored with WWE, I've got good news for you. The AEW is getting expanded telecast on TNT.
Which is both good and great news.
Yeah, they signed a new multi-year deal with TNT to keep it on the air through 2023. In addition, they will launch a new weekly show to go alongside its already launched series Dynamite, which launched in October and airs Wednesday nights.
Yeah, that's officially called Dynamite Wednesdays.
Dynamite Wednesdays. The series is currently averaging 1.2 million viewers per episode, with half in that crucial 18 to 49 demographic. We finally have real competition for the WWE after years of nothing.
And then it took literally 1 year and a media blitz.
And wrestling fans love it. Wrestling fans are way into the AEW.
Oh, yeah, they are.
Like, it's run by people who actually like what they're doing. It's not run by a multi-billion-dollar corporation and an asshole.
Well, because it's also run by people. It's mainly run by people
wrestlers.
who were
wrestlers.
Yeah, who were wrestlers who took years of abuse in the WWE and decided to do something better about it.
Doing something on their own terms the way that they want to present it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it seems to be working. So that's one of those rare entertainment stories that's actually a feel good story.
This is a feel good story.
It's a really good feel.
I do feel
story.
good about this.
I'm
story.
glad that they're succeeding, and I'm happy to see them continue.
Yeah, I mean that'll be 5 years on TV to establish your base. I mean, not establish, but to continue to grow your base, and if it can keep these numbers of 1.2 million per episode, not per month. This is per episode on a cable network.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, those are good numbers. So congratulations, TNT, and those of you at AEW.
But even wrestling is not like the sport of television production deals.
Oh, okay. Let me see here. Go.
I had to think about that.
No, I know where it's going. I'm just trying to segue it.
Yeah, it's not a great segue.
It's not a great segue.
So, Seth MacFarlane, of course, creator of Family Guy and American Dad.
And Ted and 1,000 Ways to Die in the West.
And Cleveland Show.
Cleveland Show.
One season of it. Oh, yeah, and The Orville.
The Orville.
Creator and star of...
Yes.
Yeah, so he's always been kind of associated with 20th Century Fox. He's produced all his stuff with Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no more.
Well, yes, Fox is... Well, no, 20th Century Fox TV is still a thing.
But no more. He is jumping ship and creating and developing new projects for NBC.
What? Wait, you mean the people who told him don't come to the Emmys anymore? or don't host our telecast?
I mean, I don't think he was ever banned.
I'm pretty sure they said don't do that again.
But they made a deal with him for their broadcast cable and streaming platforms, so you might see him on Peacock someday soon. The deal under his Fuzzy Door Productions banner is set for 5 years at a total of $200 million. This is also the first sizable deal for the new head of content over at NBC, Bonnie Hammer. Mm-hmm. Sources say MacFarlane is interested in starring, of course, and producing musicals, political dramas, and anthologies around historical events, in addition to working on new animated projects, his bread and butter. This is not an overall deal, as it only pertains to TV productions, not movies, and keeps Fuzzy Door Productions' film division open for any studio. Mm-hmm. So he will still market film ideas to any highest bidder, but TV-wise, he's sticking with the Peacock.
Yeah. He likes, yeah. It's definitely interesting, especially coming off of what we just said about Disney making a branding move. But that is to say that what he's been doing with Family Guy and American Dad for stuff at Fox is still going to be there. Yeah,
that doesn't change.
Yeah.
The existing renewal of Family Guy will continue. And American Dad, in fact, as we're going to mention in cancellations and renewals, has been without him for years over on TBS and will continue another 2 seasons, at least. So, needless to say, I think this is an interesting choice for NBC. Yes. I think they looked at their lineup and realized that they had probably a Seth MacFarlane-sized hole that they could fill. They have no animated television series in primetime. They haven't in, I think, forever.
Yes.
I can't think of one off the top of my head. If you can, please help me out. But I'm trying to think of any primetime animated series that have ever aired on NBC, and I'm coming up blank.
Not on NBC.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And so I'm thinking that this is a really interesting play for them, potentially.
Well, I think it's a interesting play, especially with Peacock coming out. It's also something that can... I hate to say it, but... Well, I don't hate to say it, but... Unfortunately, he does have a following and a fan base that people will watch.
And speaking of that coveted 18 to 49 demographic, he has it on lock.
Yeah.
Everything he does is for that age group. Maybe not the Orville, but everything else.
I mean, look at what Ted was marketed at.
I mean, Family Guy is the perfect example of that.
Yes.
It's like if it's anything like that kind of thing, that's how you get that demo. And so it would be this is a smart move, I think, by NBC to make this deal with him.
I expect him to have a lot of stuff going to Peacock, but at the same time, I think he wants that writing, directing, acting,
he wants to star in everything he does.
I think he wants to do that in front of camera on NBC's network proper.
Yeah, I think.
But everything else might just be executive produced by.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. We'll see what he does, but that is it for television news.
Are you ready for more Seth MacFarlane?
No, never. No? Moving on to thoughts.
That was short.
You wrapped up a couple of shows this week.
Yes, I did.
Let's talk about it. Or you wrapped up one and you started another. You've been watching Netflix's The Circle.
Yes, and as I mentioned last week, that the finale was, well, it dropped on Wednesday. I didn't get to watch it, so because I had to come here.
But you're on the other side of the circle. You're outside the circle now.
I have come full circle.
You have come full circle.
And it's an interesting show, like I said when it began, that it's this kind of conglomerate of Big Brother meets Social Network meets Survivor.
Yeah, of sorts.
It's this weird conglomerate. Just took like what people legitimately like about each show. Meets Catfish. Yeah, like legitimately likes about each of that show, and just basically said, here it is in a hyperdrive scenario.
Yeah,
and it works because it made me realize, oh yeah, this is why people love these shows.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of new season of The Bachelor starting.
Don't
not watching it.
Don't dare!
No, I'm not watching it. I just noticed that it was on.
It's on. It
yes.
continues to be on.
It continues
so,
to be
how
on.
was the finale? Did this wrap up like you wanted it to?
Yes and no, because they kept introducing people up into this last bunch of episodes. And I was like, okay, are they just going to keep introducing people? But where they did, it kind of got to that point where, well, I can clearly see that this alliance from the people who initially started is going to stay, and they're just going to try and vote out whoever the new person is.
Yeah, and
it's really hard to be the new person trying to come into this circle that they've established because they've been here since the beginning.
Yeah, you're not wrong. So I know who wins. I'm not sure if we want to spoil for people who are not.
Baby Kangaroo won.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, the Italian one.
Yeah. How'd you feel about that?
I thought it was interesting.
Everybody I talked to about this show all says the same thing, which is that he grew on them. Yes, because that's what I was going to say. That he's a grower.
Yes, he's definitely a grower, not a shower. Because when he first showed his face, I was like, I hate this guy already. This is a meathead douchebag. I'll party all the time. GTL.
Yeah.
I hate you.
But no, by the end, though, it seems like he's all right.
He's an alright guy. And that's kind of what the show essentially is. It shows that people who want to be real and genuine and wear their heart on their sleeves are way better than people who try and put on a fake persona. Even though one person almost got it.
Yeah.
It was clear that by the end that they had kind of given themselves too much leeway in their fake persona that they couldn't recover from it.
Yeah.
That being said, I think this is a good showing. I mean, it is based off a British show.
Yeah.
It's a good showing of social media and how it's better to be upfront and honest to people, especially online, than it is to try and be fake and try and catfish, because you will always be either figured out or caught, or you can't keep it. There's no way for people to keep it up for very long.
So then the ultimate question then is this comes back next year with another season, or sooner, who knows? Will you watch another season of this? Did you like it that much, or do you think this was an interesting experiment that they don't necessarily need to do again?
I think it's an interesting experiment that they will do again.
But you may pass on.
I may pass on it.
Yeah.
But that being said, as I've said many times prior to this, I am done with Vanderpump Rules. And yet, on Tuesday, yesterday, I turned it on. I watched the newest episode of Vanderpump Rules. So it's one of those things where, like, I think because it's on Netflix, I won't immediately go to it.
Yeah.
But it's also something that's like, oh, hey, we liked this show. Let's turn this on and turn our brains off.
It's background noise at a certain point.
Oh yeah, because I usually turn it on when I'm doing my news.
Yeah, so
it's something that's on that I don't necessarily have to pay attention to, but it's still hilarious, especially because we have the God view of seeing everyone's interactions.
But The Circle is not the only thing you watched this week. You also watched the new 911 spinoff on Fox, Lone Star.
Yes, Rob Lowe being a firefighter.
Yeah, did they serve you a steak?
No, but they did do line dancing.
So, okay. Close enough.
Close enough. Rob Lowe stars as a New York City firefighter who gets sent to Texas to start up is a new firefighting house.
Okay.
So the first episode, which is an hour and a half, is basically the entire, hey, I need to establish my crew.
Yeah.
It's getting the band together episode.
Right.
And then establishing the rules of this universe, of who's in charge, who has hierarchy where, what is everyone's personal vendetta or personal struggle that they're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
So, it being an hour and a half was, I feel, necessary. Because there's a lot of characters, and you have to do a lot of setup in order to care about these characters. That's one thing 911 didn't essentially do. It just said, It was just get up and go.
Here are people who take 911 calls, and this is what they do.
Yeah, here's the 911 call. Here's the person who's been taking 911 calls for the past 30 years. Here's the newbie, the new fireman, and here's the veteran sergeant police officer. And go.
Yep.
And you learned how as you went. But this, they're starting from scratch. They're starting from zero. They're starting from literally nothing because the firehouse that was there.
It's starting from nothing. Yeah.
Literally, no, because the firehouse that was there,
yeah.
Everyone in that unit was lost in a tragic fire.
Okay.
So he's basically coming into this town as a New Yorker, as an outsider, and starting a new house.
Yeah.
Basically, overtaking what was an established house before.
Yeah, makes sense.
And one of the firefighters from the old house has PTSD and is trying to struggle and trying to get back into the good wishes of, or trying to make good with Rob Lowe so he can come back to duty. And that's one of the interesting, more interesting stories. I don't necessarily like the actor who plays him, but I think his story is interesting.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm going to stick with this one because I'm not as invested with these characters yet. But I think if I've given enough episodes or given enough time, I might be.
Yeah, maybe.
Don't know if I want to actually give it that time.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll catch back up to that as it continues.
We'll see. But it is definitely a different flavor from the
regular 911.
From 911, which is up in LA.
Right.
And then this one is in Texas. So things are very different, and they definitely highlight that aspect that this is not the 911 that you've watched, but it still tackles the same type of stories.
Right. Cool. Any other television that we want to talk about before we move into cancellations and renewals? I did not watch anything.
Puppy Bowl is in 2 weeks.
Well, so is the Super Bowl.
Yes.
This thing going hand in hand. And the Grammys are Sunday. We're not going to do any predictions here, really. I think I'm going to still stand by my hope that Lana takes
Album of the Year?
I think she could do it.
You think she could? Okay.
If not, it's Post Malone. Moving on. Cancellations and renewals. Like I mentioned earlier, American Dad renewed for 2 more seasons, which brings it to 17 total on TBS. Way longer than I think a lot of people probably imagined that show would last.
It's probably one of those shows where people, if you ask people, hey, is American Dad still on? It's like, nah, it's been out for 3 years.
Nope, it's still on.
It just got renewed.
Still going. But for what I understand, though, from people whose opinion I trust, though, it is the best show out of the Seth MacFarlane animated universe.
Is that because he's not really involved?
Possibly. Now they say that. I didn't think about that. But yeah, he kind of handed it over to 2 other showrunners and just let them do it.
Yeah.
And it has second life on TBS now that apparently, it's apparently quality stuff.
Okay.
I have not watched a single episode of that show. Moving on.
I used to watch it when it was on Fox.
Yeah.
It was my dad's favorite show. And then it went to TBS, and he stopped watching it.
Cared about it.
Yep.
Netflix is renewing Bonding for a 2nd season.
Nope.
AMC has announced that the 6th season of A Better Call Saul will be its last.
That is ahead of its 5th season coming up, I believe.
So,
but yeah, next season finale.
Dollface on Hulu is getting a second season. Wu-Tang and American Saga also getting a second season on Hulu.
I didn't know that was a thing, but okay.
Freeform bringing back Good Trouble for a third season, as well as Grownish for a fourth season. I didn't realize it's already been on that long.
Has it been 4 seasons?
I guess so.
Huh.
That's what it says.
Well, I guess it'll be
Just
3
reading here.
seasons. Coming up for a 4th.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Home Before Dark on Apple TV and Mythic Quest on Apple TV are both getting renewed for a second season.
Yep. It just says renewed for a season,
Yep.
but since everything there is new,
Yeah, everything
one
there is
season.
new. So.
Yeah.
And Disney Plus will be bringing back The World According to Jeff Goldblum for a second season.
Yeah, second season or more episodes. I don't think they're doing seasons with that.
Right.
It's just more. You get more Jeff Goldblum and the world he would like to describe to you.
Sure. And lastly, a couple deaths. Bryce Armstrong, age 84, the narrator of Dragon Ball. And I think you mean Dragon Ball Z here, or both?
No, I mean Dragon Ball. This was a heated debate online.
Okay.
Because a lot of people initially thought it was the voice of Dragon Ball Z.
But no, those are two different
But no, those are 2 different people.
Got it.
There's a huge corrections in the comments of every forum I looked up about this that said, no, this is not the Dragon Ball Z guy.
No.
This is the original Dragon Ball. While he did do a voice in Dragon Ball Z as Captain Ginyu, he was only the narrator in the original Dragon Ball.
Got it. And then the other death, which happened today, age 77, Terry Jones, member of Monty Python. Also responsible for directing Life of Brian, but was part of the Monty Python squad in both the Flying Circus TV show and their movies. So another one down.
Would you call them a squad or
They're
a troop?
Sure.
Yeah, let's go troop.
Troop. That means 2 out of the original 6 have now died.
Oh no!
So there are 4 Monty Pythons left. So if you're near John Cleese, keep him safe.
Get that bubble wrap.
And those are your deaths. So it's time for music. Do I need to hand this to you, or can you pull it up yourself?
I'll be a big boy and pull up myself.
Be a big boy and talk
I'm
about
a big kid
music
now.
news.
All right, hey, we're zooming through this thing pretty well.
Music news.
All right, music news, and we always start music with the Billboard.
We do.
And we start the Billboard with the hottest 100.
Yeah, it's so hot I can't touch these singles.
Number 1 is "The Box" by Roddy Ricch.
Number 1 for the second week.
Is that "The Box" or is that a different Roddy Ricch song?
It's the only Roddy Ricch song.
I thought it was a different one.
No.
Number 2.
The name of his album.
That's probably what I'm thinking. Number 2, "Life is Good" by Future, but really it's featuring Drake.
Yeah.
Number 3, "Circles" by Post Malone. Number 4, "Memories" by Maroon 5. And 5, "Lose You to Love Me" by Selena Gomez.
Getting that album bump.
It definitely got that album bump, as "Rare" by Selena Gomez is your number 1 album on the Billboard 200.
We talked about that last week, but yeah. Sure enough, number 1.
We had a split decision on that last week. I think you liked it more than me.
I have a feeling that might happen again this week.
We'll see. Number 2 is "Please Excuse Me for Being Antisocial" by Roddy Ricch.
That's probably what you're thinking.
That's probably what I'm thinking of. Number 3 is "Time Served" by Moneybags Yo.
Moneybag Yo, who's apparently an artist.
And number 4, "Hollywood's Bleeding" by Post Malone. And 5, "Kirk" by DaBaby.
You have DaBaby back in that top 5.
Back in the top 5 for DaBaby.
DaBaby.
Your new releases, you're listening to this week.
I don't know if I'm listening to these things.
Oh no, you're definitely listening to
new
these
releases.
Woo! You feel that? That's a backup and Missy Elliott reverse it. Totally in that order, by the way.
Sure.
We have "Sing in a World That's Falling Apart" by Black Lips. We have "Aurora" by Breaking Benjamin. Mm-hmm. "Hotspot" by Pet Shop Boys. Yes, those Pet Shop Boys. "Mind Hive" by Wire. And "Thin Mind" by Wolf Parade.
So, not a whole lot of releases this week.
Nope. I don't know if I'm checking out that Breaking Benjamin album.
No, I will not.
You will not. I know you will not. I'm.
And I think
don't think
that this
I will.
is the real week that the Kesha record comes out, by the way.
Is that what the internet is
I
saying?
think. I'm not 100% sure, but it might come out on Friday.
Well, it has to either come out this Friday or next Friday.
next
Otherwise,
Friday,
it misses its January
So
debut.
I think it's this week, but I'll find out next week.
Well, I mean, we'll find out
You'll
this
find
week.
out next week, listener.
Yes, we will. And that's it for new releases.
Is it?
All right. Moving into music news. And
Let's do it.
wow, you know how we have feel-good stories?
This was not a feel-good week in music.
No. As Neil Portnow, the former CEO of the Recording Academy, stepped down after being accused of rapping an unnamed recording
Not
artist.
rapping.
Sorry, raping an
Very
unnamed.
different.
Yes, raping. I'll say that again. Raping
You can stop saying that, please.
an unnamed recording artist, according to a Blockbuster claim filed on Tuesday by his successor, Deborah Dugan. Dugan alleges she was forced out of the CEO job last week after lodging a complaint in December about sexual harassment, voting irregularities with the Grammy Awards, self-dealing, and conflict of interest. The claim, filed with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, accused the Recording Academy of retaliating against her by drumming up false pretexts to put her on leave. The allegation against Portnow is her most explosive charge. The EEOC complaint states that Portnow, quote, allegedly raped a female recording artist, end quote, who is not named but described as foreign, quote, which was upon information and belief the real reason his contract was not renewed. It claims the board was aware of the incident but did nothing.
Yeah. So this is kind of a complicated summary of the last week. So she has since left the academy.
Yes.
Which is the kind of the important part. So there was like a nothing left to lose kind of air to these accusations where she was like, well, if I'm on the way out, might as well air all this dirty laundry now. And like get all of this out in the air so people know about this dude.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, all of this is, alleged, of course. We always have to mention that legally.
Legally. Yes.
Man, it makes like a weird kind of cloud before Sunday's Grammys. Where you're going to really wonder, one, who comes out on stage to talk about the Academy,
mm-hmm.
and two, how they talk about it. Because this is a PR nightmare, I'm sure, for the Academy right now, and they need to figure out how they're going to address this.
Yeah, I think
the biggest night of their year.
I think this was done on purpose to come out the week before the Grammys or week of the Grammys.
It's just such a weird, circumstance of events that are all kind of leading us here. And it'll be interesting to watch what happens on Sunday night.
Yeah, I mean, I think you'll still have people thank the Academy.
Yeah, because they voted for them.
Yes.
Like, they can't not thank the Academy.
Right, but it'll be interesting to see if you see a lot of the, especially female artists, speak out.
Yeah, do you see a lot of Me Too-esque support?
I think
here, do you think do you have presenters
I think a lot of
winners wearing ribbons?
I think a lot of the younger artists will speak out. I'm not sure if the older acts will or if any of the male acts would.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
But it will definitely be interesting.
Oh boy! So what? What a mess.
That's not why I'm watching it though.
No, but man, what a mess this whole thing is.
Anyways, speaking of things that are a mess, the band Paramore.
they're not really a mess.
Are they together?
Yes.
Well, then why do you have a story about a solo debut?
Well, so read and find out.
Well, Paramore singer Hayley Williams has appeared semi-frequently as a solo artist over the years, mostly guesting on songs by artists ranging from B.O.B. to Churches to Z to American football, the band.
Right, yeah. Not the sport.
I mean, it could be the sport, but mostly the band. She's only shared one solo track as a lead artist, Teenagers, from the soundtrack to 2009 film Jennifer's Body. But she's going all in on her solo career in 2020, which was hinted at the end of last year, but only confirmed, I want to say the start of this year?
Yeah.
Yeah. Last month, on her 31st birthday, Williams announced, quote, "With the help of some of my closest friends, I made something I'm going to call my own." End quote. She also promised we'd get to hear some of it in January, a promise she's actually following through, unlike some artists, on today.
Yes.
Williams has released a new solo track called
Today.
Simmer. Comes out today.
Yeah.
Our first taste of her debut solo album, Petals for Armor, which is due out in May. She co-wrote the song with Paramore guitarist Taylor York, who also produced it, and Joey Howard, a touring member of Paramore. Despite the personnel continuity, this is not billed as Paramore's follow-up to 2017's After Laughter, nor does its creeping synthetic sound have much to do with that album's aesthetics beyond its shared interest in heavy syncopation.
So yeah, I think this is interesting that she's finally doing a solo record under her own name. Something that I think that a lot of Paramore fans either feared or imagined would drive a rift into the band.
Well, 10 years ago, this was the fear when Paramore got big that, oh my God, they're big now. Oh wait, Hayley Williams is going to start doing solo stuff, especially when she started doing the B.O.B. song, Airplane, and that got lots of radio play.
So if you know anything about the
so
history
much so
of the band...
that Eminem decided to do a part 2 to it.
So yeah, if you know anything about the history of the band, you know that's part of the weird part of Paramore's existence, is that then when they got the major label deal, technically Hayley Williams is the only person who signed that contract. Mm-hmm. The band Paramore is not technically signed to... What is it? Atlantic? I think they're on.
Is it Atlantic?
I think whatever label it is, they're not technically signed as all of the members.
Right.
Hayley is the only person. And that was when the big divide happened after the release of their third record.
Riot.
No, their third record, Brand New Eyes, in 2009.
Okay.
Also in 2009.
Yeah.
But yeah, when that came out, half the band left because they were basically pissed about this contract, and basically were like, well, we don't want to be part of this if she's the only one who ever gets credit. She's the only one people talk about, etc., etc. Mm-hmm. The band continued to exist, but with kind of personnel changes every once in a while. But still, to this day, Hayley's still the only one that's really signed. It's a weird situation. So yeah, I think this is cool though that she's actually getting a chance to make some music on her own, own accord, and that the current members of the band Paramore are cool with it because she finally got to a point where they're on her team as opposed.
It's funny that you said that the current band of Paramore,
as Paramore stands right now, which is the aforementioned Taylor York and the original drummer who had initially left but then came back.
Mm-hmm.
That's the current lineup. And then this touring member.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna check this out. I'll listen to this. I'm excited. I'm a big fan of her voice. So I'm excited to see what this sounds.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I've always liked Paramore. They've put out a lot of good stuff over the course of the years.
We talked about After Laughter a lot on this podcast.
Yes, we did.
It was on I believe it was high on our end of the year lists that year.
2017?
Yeah, 2017.
I believe so.
I think so.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was one of the things that we could agree on, I think, for once.
I think it was our album of the year, but...
No, it wasn't, but...
I think that was Moana, right?
Yeah. No, it wasn't. No, because that was our movie. It wasn't...
I think we also said it could be our...
I don't think it was soundtrack. Anyway, but yeah. So yeah, cool. It's good news, I think.
Yeah, this is good news. New song out and then new album in May.
Yep.
But there were new albums that also released this past week, which we listened to.
Yeah, we did listen to a couple of things.
Yes. All right, so there's two albums listed here.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go ahead and say my piece
Okay.
about one of the albums. That way we can talk about the other album.
Okay. Say your piece.
I'm going to say my piece. So, I listened to Music to Be Murdered By.
First of all, we should establish
Eminem.
that this was a surprise release.
Yes.
So Eminem.
And I thought this was going to be one of your stories.
No.
Okay.
I didn't think it was because I saw it was you had thought about it and I was like, you'll think
Counts.
about it. It counts.
It counts.
But yeah, Eminem did a surprise album release last week.
Yes. Out of nowhere, he decided to drop not only a music video, but then at the very end tagged it with his new album being released that same day. Out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Eminem, of course, been around for 20 plus years now.
Mm-hmm.
Going on 20?
Yeah. We're about 20.
For about 20 years. Is probably one of those few artists out there who could do this. Just drop an album and people will hoard over to go listen to it. And so I did.
Okay.
Going into it blind, not knowing what to think about it. I heard some... I sent you that screenshot
Yes, you did.
that basically
Funny.
summarized
Yeah.
two people's thoughts about it.
Pretty much the modern Eminem release, no matter what, like in the last 5 years, this is how the reaction has been. Is either the super fans are very excited by it, and everybody else is disgusted.
Right, you got either, oh my god, Eminem proving once again why he's the greatest, and other people saying, oh my god, Eminem, what are you doing?
Yeah, why are you still here?
Yes. And so, it's interesting that that's basically like how I found out that Eminem had a new album out. I was like, oh, he has a new album out. Might listen to it. I forgot where the hell I was. What was I doing? I forgot where I was when I saw this was released. I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to listen to this now. Because I was going somewhere. I was like, okay, I'll listen to this.
Mm-hmm.
So I put it on, and first album off the track is Eminem dissing Eminem, talking about Eminem. I'm like, okay, you clearly haven't changed over the course of the years. This is your standard Eminem song,
Yeah.
which is Eminem talking about Eminem.
Yeah.
Basically saying everything. Eminem's big response song to everyone who's dissed him for the past 3 years, proving that he still has it. He's never going to let go of it. And that all of you who've been either hating on him or say he can't do it anymore, basically shoving it right in your face right off the bat.
Yeah, but if you have to do that, haven't you already lost? That's my opinion. If you feel like you need to open up your record, that is ostensibly a big career move because you dropped it by surprise with a self-defense of yourself.
Yeah, but he dropped his last
Why?
album like that too.
It's that's what I'm saying is if you have to do it over and over and over again, what are you doing? You should let the work speak for itself at some point, right?
Yeah, but that's why this first song is basically his response, and that's the only response song.
I guess, but I'm just saying is like I don't think if it was good enough, I don't think it would be necessary.
Well, I think there are a lot of people out there who were saying that Eminem can't do what these is no longer relevant.
He's not.
I mean,
to be fair, he kind of isn't.
Depends. I mean, he's always been a shock value artist.
He does a certain thing.
Yes. And which he addressed in this song.
Sure.
Calls out his previous albums about how people dissed him on the previous albums and how he was like, oh, but I came back and you liked me. And then I did another one and then you hated me. What's with this roller coaster, guys? And so, yeah, that's basically where this album starts to come from. But the whole album is an Eminem album. You can listen for yourself for all the double entendres that he does. Because that's pretty much all he does now is, how can I take one word and spin it into 3 different words and have you get the same thing, not just for a sentence and not just for a verse, but for the whole song.
Right.
And that's basically what he does for the majority of this album. But I'm going to point out 2 specific songs in particular because otherwise I'm just going to be saying the same thing over and over for every song.
Right.
First one is going to be Godzilla, which happens to have Juice WRLD on it. Posthumous Juice WRLD. And the reason I bring this song up is because I didn't get Juice World until I heard this song.
Well, it's too late.
And it's too late. Because I think had he been around and then this album dropped and he's on this record with this song, this would have been the hip-hop song everyone would have been playing. This is the song that would have been everywhere and the one to propel Juice World up there into basically this year.
Maybe.
I strongly feel that strong about it. I feel so strong about that song that it is the reason I created my 2020 playlist. That I heard this song and was like, well, this is it. This is the song I was waiting for to start my playlist. This needs to be on my year of 2020 songs.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, this is the one that does it. And I didn't think it was going to be. I was like, okay, cool album. Let me just listen to it. And then this song, I was like, boom, this is what I've been waiting for. This has all the beat, all the umph, all the basically anger you want out of a song, but also very restrained and very lyrically sewn through this tangled web of both Eminem's lyrics and Juice WRLD's lyrics, and just meshes so well. They kind of harmonize quite beautifully.
Did not expect that.
Neither did I, which is why I think it's such a weird breath of rap air that I am breathing.
Interesting.
Now, that song is followed up by the song that is clearly dominating the topic of discussion, though, on the album.
Uh-huh.
And the one everyone is talking about, and I think you've probably heard about this song as well, Darkness.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't heard of this song, this is the song that he dropped the music video for to basically announce his album. And the double entendres for the first three verses of the song are so sewn through so well that when I first listened to this song, I had to basically get to the end of this end of the third verse, stop when he got to the fourth verse, hit rewind, and listen to it again to see if I was actually picking up what he was laying down. Because this song has so many layers to it. I want to give this thing so many songwriting awards because it is just a beautifully written masterpiece that I didn't realize could come from Eminem. And not necessarily Eminem, just songwriting in general.
Okay, that's a thing that was said.
Yes. This song made me cry.
Okay.
Both tears of, like, beauty and then also tears of sadness. And then listen to it again. And then listen to it again. And then listen to people react to it. And I listen to people break it down. And then I just basically took my week consumed with this song. Of listening to it, listening to other people talk about it, reading other people's comments about it. And it's just a song that is so touching and so telling on so many levels that made me have a new appreciation to songwriting in general.
Okay.
Now, what have you heard of this song? Or
Nothing.
have you listened to this song?
No. I have not listened to any of this, and I have literally read nothing about any of this because the people I follow are not listening to it.
Okay. All right.
So I'm just gonna take your word for all of this. I will probably
skip
it.
Okay,
because I just don't like anything about Eminem.
Okay. This song though, Darkness, is probably the only song you should listen to on the album. It is something that I've seen. Well, one, I actively sought it out to see what other people were talking about this song about. And this is also the song that a lot of people are divided on. And if you see any hate geared towards Eminem this past week and probably month, it is because of this song. So I encourage you to at least check out this song.
Okay.
I want to say you should listen to it before you watch the music video.
Okay.
Because that's how I experienced it. But a lot of people have watched it and then realized, oh, there's a new album out from it. But it's one of those things that hits you pretty hard. Like I said, brought me to tears.
All right. Well, we'll see.
We'll see. That being said, I don't think this will be your number one record, though.
No, because something else came out this week.
Yeah. Another album came out this week, and we both listened to this album.
Yeah, we did.
This is Halsey album.
Yes.
Artist Halsey with Manic.
Right, yeah. Not a great title.
No. I wish it was a better title.
Yeah. So I'm curious about what you thought about this.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So I listened to this album twice.
Okay.
I first listened to it in just a passing, fading. I'm going to put this on. Maybe I'll like it. Maybe I probably won't. Kind of feeling like it may have the same vibe that Selena Gomez had with Rare. That it's just going to be, it's just another girl, another pop album. I'm just going to have a fainting listen to this. So I listened to it kind of passively. And I thought there were a few songs on there that, that's kind of a good hook. That's kind of some good lyrics. Mm-hmm. That's kind of a good verse. Okay, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it's fine. And then I listened to it again on the way up here. And I definitely wasn't paying attention the first time because, holy cow, this is a good album.
Yeah, it's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Like, it kind of shocked me. I was
shocked me.
Oh, she actually has some talent. So I kind of doubted Halsey. Because, the outsider's perspective of Halsey, she is literally everywhere.
Yes.
She's on every award show. She's in every radio single. Like, she's just constantly, around. No matter what you're doing, Halsey is involved somehow. She's best friends with Taylor Swift now, apparently.
Yep.
She shows up when you least expect her. And the singles that are on the radio, they're fine, but they're not, amazing.
Right, for me, she's always been the feature artist. It's always featuring Halsey. Oh, she's over here doing this, doing that. She's I had to think, wait, has Halsey actually put out a full album, or is she just this person
this is her
third?
Everywhere? That's the thing. There were two before this.
Yes.
Somehow... And somehow,
this feels like her coming out album.
Somehow this one feels like, somebody actually gave her the keys and said no, write songs about your lived experience. Mm-hmm. Write songs about who you are emotionally. And that's what this is. This is a pop album, but it's also kind of a confessional. Where she's very, very talking very clearly and honestly about things that she deals with.
Mm-hmm. It's weird because when I listened to it from start to finish, it started off as this is clearly something I would have liked in high school. This has that kind of rock pop vibe that I would have liked in high school / college. I would have followed.
There's a song on there that sounds straight up Avril Lavigne.
Yes. Also, there's also at one point I had a thought this kind of sounds a bit like Alanis Morissette.
And then Alanis Morissette shows up.
Isn't it ironic?
Don't you think? But yeah, around every corner on this thing, there's something different. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what's interesting about Halsey as an artist is you can't really pigeonhole her, even though you think you can.
Yeah.
You would think that it would be very easy to be oh yeah, pop starlet, But no, she's clearly interested in a lot of different things, and that shows in this record. She's got influences all over the place.
Oh yeah.
But she can write a song too. Some of her lyrics I'm really impressed by. The closing song. Speaking of songs that made you cry, made me cry.
Yeah.
Not a lot. I was at work.
Right.
But I definitely got emotional.
Right. Which closing song? Was it just called Closing?
I don't know what it was. It was the very last song. Yeah. But yeah, it was kind of touching. And I was surprised that I was touched by a Halsey record. But yeah, I had a good time with this one. I was trying to figure out whether I liked it slightly more than the Selena Gomez thing, and I think I do. I think it's slightly better. But I liked both of them. Yeah. But yeah, this was surprising in a lot of ways.
There were a couple songs there that I put on my 2020 playlist that I when I listened back, I was like, wow,
Yeah.
I actually really like this song.
Yeah.
There's one song in particular, I think it was You Should Be Sad.
Yeah, yeah.
Before it got to, after the first chorus, I was like, all right, this thing's going on the playlist.
Yeah, that thing goes.
That thing
Like,
is
that one
that thing is
goes.
great. That is going to be your hit. Other standouts are Without Me and, surprisingly, 3 a.m.
Well, Without Me is the single. In fact,
Yeah.
that single is so old. How old do you think it is?
I want to say it was all last year.
October 2018.
Wow, 2018?
Yeah, and yet she still put it on this because it's still technically in this album cycle because it was released after her previous one.
Right.
So yeah, like that one's been on.
And it's not like a Drake thing where it's just going to be a standalone single.
Right. No, in this case, like she kept it just in case, and it does kind of sound like an outlier because of it. It sounds like very like modern radio, which the rest of it doesn't really have to be straddled by. But yeah, it's interesting choices, and it really like finally showed to me like, oh, this is who Halsey is as actual artist.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was surprised.
Are you surprised I liked it?
Honestly, I'm not surprised that you liked it. I'm more surprised that you didn't like the Selena Gomez thing.
Okay.
Like, that's the bigger surprise for me. I thought you would like both of these. But, like, yeah, like, I had a good time with this.
Maybe if I give the Selena Gomez a second
Maybe.
listen to.
Maybe.
Like I said, I got this album on the second listen to because there was a lot of songs that I was like, okay, like, there's a lot that I could figure out the first time listen to.
But hey, so far, we're 2 for 2 for pop albums this year, so I'm feeling pretty good about the genre this year.
Now, are both either Selena Gomez or Halsey going to be at the Grammys performing these songs?
Yes, I believe Selena Gomez is confirmed to be performing. I don't know about Halsey, but like I said, Halsey shows up whenever, so she'll probably be there.
Right. She might show up with Selena Gomez.
Who can say? Maybe so. Okay.
All right. Any other albums?
I did not listen to anything else.
I did not listen to that Little Big Town record, so no.
I figured you would.
I was going to, and then I saw the Halsey thing. I thought, I'll give that one a listen to instead.
All right. Well, we'll find out next week.
All right.
Moving on.
Moving on to video games.
Our last segment.
Ooh.
Video game.
And yet we're still at like an hour here.
Yeah, we're not doing too bad.
No, not doing too bad. Video game with new releases.
Yeah, what am I playing this week?
I don't know what you're playing. Well, I know what I'm playing, but here are the new releases.
One of these is for you.
First up, The Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners for the PC.
This is a VR title.
Okay, for PC VR.
Right, specifically.
We have Oddworld, Stranger's Wrath, HD for the Switch.
This is a remaster of a Xbox 360 era game.
Right. We have Journey to the Savage Planet for PlayStation, Xbox, and PC.
This seems neat. I don't know a lot about it, but it seems like a neat game.
We also have Kentucky Route Zero, TV Edition for the PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch.
So this is a console version of a PC series that was episodic. There were 4 episodes in total. The 4th one actually hasn't premiered until this release.
Huh.
So this is the final chapter in the series. So people on PC have been playing it for a while, since about 2013, I want to say.
Really?
And this is the culmination of it. But it's also the first time any of the episodes have been available on console.
Weird.
So you'll probably hear a lot about it because a lot of people will be playing it for the first time after this release.
Okay. We also have Pillars of Eternity 2, Deadfire for the PlayStation and Xbox.
I think an expansion.
And we have Warcraft 3, Reforged for the PC.
That's that Warcraft 3 remaster that Blizzard teased a couple years ago. Finally coming out.
You also have an error on this one. Kingdom Hearts 3, Mind.
Uh-huh.
It's only for the PlayStation.
What do I have on there?
PlayStation and Xbox.
Well, Metacritic must have gotten it wrong.
Well, it will be coming out for both, but Xbox is coming
delayed.
out 1 month later.
Okay.
Because PlayStation has the exclusive first.
Okay, so the PS4 version of Remind.
Yes. It is already downloaded. Actually, yeah, in like 1 hour it will be downloaded.
Save it. Yeah.
Yes. In addition to that, it will also come with a free update for those of you who have Kingdom Hearts 3.
Okay.
Which includes, I want to say, both the Oblivion and Oathkeeper Keyblades. If you know this game, you know what I'm talking about.
Okay, I'm just going to go with it.
Yeah. But it also made me re-hook up my PlayStation because I forgot I
had one.
no, not that I had one. I had been playing it for a while, but I also took it out to take it for the holidays to play at my parents' house or wherever.
Yeah.
But I forgot to ever
put it
back in or hook it back up.
Now you got to.
So now I did, and then I played Critical Mode again. I was like, oh yeah, this is where I left off. So I spent about 2 or 3 hours finishing up stuff. So I have one boss left to beat and about 20 levels to 100% in Critical Mode. But other than that, I am ready for this DLC.
All right.
And by the way, thank you for purchasing it for me.
You're welcome.
Anyways, that is what I'm playing this weekend.
Releases.
I will have your thoughts on that next week.
Your thoughts.
My thoughts. I will have my thoughts on the Kingdom Hearts 3 DLC, Remind DLC next week.
Yeah.
But we're not in next week, are we?
No, we're not. We're in this week, and we have news.
All right, in news.
So, a lot of rumors this week. I'm just going to get ahead of that. So, we will not be talking about the leak about the PlayStation conference that will supposedly be happening on the 5th.
Nope.
Even though that was the biggest story of the week.
That is still a rumor, though.
Still a rumor. So, we will not confirm nor deny any of that.
I mean, I don't... Let's see, what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4... That'd be a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Only like Super Bowl's on
it
the 2nd.
It seemed like people were willing to commit to it to the rumor because of the PlayStation 4 was also announced in the middle of the week in a February in New York in the same location. So that's why people are like, this sounds like this is correct.
Well, if I'm Sony, and I know I am.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm going to be doing, making a conference on that Wednesday. I would be running a Super Bowl ad.
Yeah, maybe
in the pregame.
Maybe
not actually pay for actual game time. During the pregame, like right before it, where mostly eyes are on it, and have just say PlayStation to be announced.
Yeah.
Just have like the PlayStation logo come on, or someone with a controller, whatever, and just be announcement. Something new is coming. You do a like generation cycle, like you have the 1, 2, 3, 4, and then coming to 5.
That would be smart.
That's what I mean. You have what, roughly 15 million viewers plus for the Super Bowl, and you get the hype train going for 3 days.
That being said, they still might do that, but also they have to announce it before that because that would be like 3 days prior. And they have to send like tickets to like media outlets and stuff. So they have to announce this week.
Well,
if this is happening.
I mean, do they?
I think so.
I mean, Nintendo doesn't do that kind of stuff. They just do treehouse events.
Yeah, I know, but it's a big difference, I think, if they want actual people to be there.
Yeah, I mean, yes, plus also, if it's going to be a big event, that's a lot of people to keep hush on.
Yeah.
NDA stuff.
So, no. It's going to get out.
Yeah.
All right. But we're not talking about that.
No.
We have 2 other news stories.
We're talking about Valve first.
Yeah.
Talking about Left 4 Dead 3. Well, on the heels of another crop of leaks, Valve confirmed in a statement to IGN that Left 4 Dead 3 is not in development.
Nope.
Quote, "We've seen rumors to this effect for the last couple of months. We did briefly explore some Left 4 Dead next opportunities a few years ago. But we are absolutely not working on anything Left 4 Dead related now, and haven't for years," if that wasn't clear enough. He continues, "It's clear some people are having fun creating misinformation to spin up the community and other outlets. Unfortunately, for now, a new Left 4 Dead game is not something we're working on."
So this just finally quells a recurring rumor over the last few years.
Yes.
Where people are like, well, surely they're doing something with Left 4 Dead. But no, they're not.
I mean, every year, people always question, a new Left 4 Dead. But that's just something that's not here or there yet. But, I mean, Valve is currently working on the Half-Life Alyx thing.
Exactly, which will be their thing.
Yeah, and that's the big thing that they're going to announce coming up. So
they wouldn't cannibalize it something.
No. That's going to be their news story that they want to take over, and that's what they want to have people invest in, because that's also their VR service.
Right, exactly.
So that's all many hardware there.
Sells those headsets.
Yep.
We have a special guest.
Yes, little puppy. Little puppy has entered the building. But yeah, no, I don't think Valve would undercut themselves doing this. It's just something that's just not in their wheelhouse, not in their best interest.
No, but interesting nonetheless.
It is interesting that. I mean, it's interesting and it's sad.
You know what? I don't really miss the Left 4 Dead series.
No, I don't. Fine. But for some people, it is.
Yeah, a lot of people.
I am not one of those people, but for some people, it is.
Yeah.
But that does bring us to our last story, though. All right. With Horizon: Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
Coming to the PC this year.
It seems like it's for real.
According to a report from Kotaku, citing 3 sources familiar with Sony's plans for Guerrilla Games, a PC port of Horizon remains unconfirmed, but this isn't the first time the idea has been floated. Last year, Russian YouTuber Anton Logvinov, who accurately predicted Death Stranding's PC port, claimed that Horizon would come to PC in February of 2020. As it happens, the very existence of Death Stranding's PC port also supports the possibility of Horizon coming to PC, as the 2 games share the Decima engine. Also, Guerrilla Games helped work on
the
Death Stranding.
Yeah,
and if Death Stranding can run on PC, then it stands to reason that Horizon could also be made to fit on the platform with reasonable tweaks.
So there's a lot of evidence for why this is happening. But first and foremost, above all, which I'm actually surprised that the story didn't mention, is that Sony gave that hint about a few months ago about moving forward, we're exploring things that we've published arriving on other platforms. And by other platforms, everyone knew that they meant PC.
Right. Even though PC is Xbox, Xbox is PC.
Yeah.
PC is still different enough to where it's not Xbox.
So it goes in hand with, of course, the Death Stranding news about it coming to PC. But also with the news about MLB The Show coming to multi-platforms as well.
Right.
It seems like the walls for Sony about multi-platform, and we talked a little bit about this on our End of the Year wrap-up podcasts, are coming down, or at least slightly down, so they can peek over them. And
the one-way street of cross-platform.
I think the PC is going to be something that Sony is a little bit more friendly with this generation, and this will be the first step. Additionally, with this, it seems like there's also some heavy rumor currently about Last of Us 2 also getting a PC port when it launches. Makes sense.
Yes.
So my prediction here, I think this is new Sony policy. I think both Sony and Microsoft, first party, both of them will be making PC games alongside their console games.
I think this is also being fueled by the fact that the former creative head of Guerrilla Games is currently the head of Sony International.
That helps, for sure.
Or Sony North America, my bad.
Yeah. And then also, on top of all of this, the new boxes are even more like PCs than the current ones. And that's what we said about these ones when they came out. It was like, they're basically PCs now. These are even more basically PCs.
Yeah.
As the more PC-like these consoles get, the more developers will just be like, why not make a PC version too? There's no reason to just make a console game anymore.
I would see them make a PC port, but on the heels of an announcement of Horizon 2.
I think the same thing will happen. So if, for example, we do have a Sony show on the 5th and a big a place where they make all their announcements, I could foresee, and I'm not the only person who thinks this is happening. I also heard a podcast today that was talking about a similar idea.
Mm-hmm.
They announce a Horizon 2 as a launch game for PS5.
Yes.
And at the same time, they say, and PC users, you can download it now.
Ooh, download it now?
Would that be smart?
Yes, but would it be an Epic Games exclusive?
So that's the question, and the rumor does not specify whether this would be a Steam release or an Epic release or both. I don't see why they wouldn't do both. Because why not?
I don't see why you would limit yourself.
Yeah. Unless Epic
money
showed up with a big paycheck.
Yeah.
Which could be the way that you see this happen.
I mean, that's the way they've done for most stuff, but Sony is so big that they don't need to take the extra paycheck.
They don't need
They're not a struggling studio.
But we'll see. This was the Guerrilla game. The Guerrilla Games part about this is the crazy part because they are a wholly owned Sony subsidiary. Mm-hmm. So the fact that they would be putting out a PC version of their game is kind of crazy. But like I said, I think this is happening.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was happening, and it would be a welcoming if it happened.
Yeah, I think this is happening, and I think that it'll be well received.
Yep. All right. I mean, yeah, I think that we're good. Real briefly on, I guess we'll talk about Kingdom Hearts 2 next week. When I have
We can talk about Kingdom Hearts once you played a little bit of it.
No, like there's some like rumor news that came out recently that I saw.
Yes, there was something today that was announced, a new mobile game.
Yes.
That actually is confirmed.
Yes, but I'll talk about that next week.
Yeah, we can talk about that more next week.
Yeah.
I have a thought.
I'm sure you have a thought. You are a living human being. So, you have a girlfriend, and you've been
Thank you.
talking to me constantly about doing a Ring Fit adventure.
But it's not
with your girlfriend.
It's not the one you think.
No, it's not the one I think. Even though I've made this joke with you plenty of times.
I bought Ring Fit Adventure for the Switch.
So, Ring Fit Adventure is a video game.
Yes.
With in the vein of Wii Fit, I want to say.
So a lot of people are kind of thinking of this game as kind of a spiritual successor to the Wii Fit series, except this time instead of having a balance board, a thing that you stand on, where you do yoga poses and other things, instead what they've done is they've taken a workout ring that I believe is a thing already in a lot of physical therapy kind of situations. Okay. You might know somebody who knows something about that.
I know someone who was looking to interview some physical therapists.
Good to know. Yeah. Is that an advertisement for this podcast? Like, hey, if you're listening to this and if you're a physical therapist?
Well, maybe, but...
Please contact us.
Well, I know someone I know is doing their capstone for their masters and needs to, or at least wants to talk to some physical therapists.
Well, there you go. Anyway, a ring, and it's a kind of a semi-flexible kind of ring, a plastic and rubber kind of compound, where you push it in and you pull it out, and that works different muscles.
Sounds like Play-Doh.
Yeah, exactly, but more rigid.
Okay.
It works muscles in your arms, your back, your pectorals, all sorts of different muscles are kind of activated by this thing, and then on top of that. So that basically is the main focus of the workout. But then you also strap the other. You have a strap that holds like a holster kind of thing. Your other Joy-Con, and that's put on your leg. And so basically these two things in tandem are how you work out. So it's a lot of strength training with the ring, but it's a lot of cardio and stretching with the Joy-Con holster. So it can basically tell, because it's strapped to your leg and it has a motion sensor in it, it can tell how low your squat is, for example, or how high you're raising your knee. And the ring can tell, how far are you pushing it in? How far are you pulling it out? Also, how far are you moving it over your head for a stretch, or down, or to the side? Oh, as I'm doing it, I'm like, my muscles are kind of sore.
I'm looking at it right now.
So yeah, there's all sorts of different things. So, if that was the only thing this game would do, it would still be a pretty cool workout tool, just like Wii Fit was.
Okay.
Except, Ring Fit Adventure implies that there's an adventure happening.
There's a story mode.
And that's the key here. There is a story mode.
Okay.
It's an RPG with workout mechanics.
Really?
Yes.
Huh.
You are in a mystical world, not unlike Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. In fact, they may or may not be using the engine from that game, because a lot of the environments and characters look like it's in that style. But you are basically, you meet a magic ring, and he's not feeling too great, because there's a huge muscular dragon that's stolen his powers. And so he needs you to work out with him to basically raise your power level to finally beat the muscular dragon.
Okay.
Drago is his name. But yeah, and thus your adventure begins. So the gameplay of the adventure modes is a lot of cardio. You're either running in place or in silent mode for people who live on second floor apartments like me. You're doing squats. Not full squats, like little mini squats.
Okay. Pull squats?
To kind of make your character run. And then you're also using the ring in like an interactive way to, like, for example, push in to blow air bubbles at boxes to destroy them. Later, there's enemies that can only be defeated by doing... Yep, that's Drago. There's enemies that can only be defeated by doing certain kinds of exercises or stretches. So, for example, there'll be like blue enemies that can only be defeated by arm exercises and etc. So, you actually earn experience points while doing these. You are timed and there's leaderboards. There's mini games in a separate mode. There's also straight up sets for workout routines. This game is huge. There's so much to do. There's so many adjustable difficulty levels. You can basically start from like absolute beginner, like I don't work out at all, give me the easiest stuff possible. Or crank it up all the way to the top and get a really, really hard, like hardcore workout. Or what the game wants you to do, progress over the course of the adventure and get better and better, and then have the difficulty naturally rise as you're getting more fit in real life. It's a really, really cool game. They basically taken an already successful thing, which was the Wii Fit kind of concept, and made it even more of a game. And in turn, they've made it like more addictive. I've seen a lot of people online say that this is the first workout routine that's actually worked for them, because it translates workout routines and fitness routines into a language they understand, leveling up. Yeah. And I've played a couple of nights so far. I'm starting a 3 days a week thing to start.
Okay.
So I'm doing Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays.
Okay.
So yeah, I did about 20 minutes. Well, no. I wanted to do 20 minutes. I didn't quite make it 20 minutes.
You can do it, man. I believe in you.
I did a warm-up and the first level of the adventure on Sunday. On Tuesday, I did a warm-up. I did the first level of the adventure again, because it told me that the next level I should be level 3 for, and I was still level 2. So I repeat that one, and then I did some sets to kind of see what they were like. And yeah, I got a pretty good workout out of that. I was sweating by the end of it. If you put your thumb, they have a thing where you can actually monitor your heart rate with it by putting your thumb over the IR kind of thing on the Joy-Con.
Yeah.
And yeah, that'll actually tell you what your heart rate is.
Right. Is that on the red one?
The red one has the IR, the blue one does not. But yeah, right. The red one's on the rim.
Okay.
So basically, you're holding the.
Oh, so you have to put it on the.
You have to put it on because it's measuring your motion when you move the ring around.
Yeah. Do note it's $80.
So it's $80.
Yeah.
Which seems kind of steep considering it's for the $250 Switch.
Right.
You cannot play this with the Switch Lite as well because it requires the Joy-Cons.
Right.
But if you consider, say, that you're doing this instead of like a gym membership that's $20 a month, then it starts to make some sense math-wise in your head. You're basically investing in a workout routine that you're going to do over a very long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the way I thought of it, is that this is less of a game as more of it's an excuse for me to actually start exercising.
Because you need an excuse to actually exercise.
A lot of people do.
I know.
So, and I think this is what the cool thing about this is a perfect tool to get a lot of people who otherwise would have a really hard time going to a gym. This is a perfect way to do a workout that is secluded, that is just between you and the TV, but also is actually really, really good workout for you.
Now, I know, like, with motion and Kinect stuff, especially the Wii, that you need area to move in. How much do you actually need?
There's an element of that. It's not exactly Kinect, though, on an Xbox, so you don't necessarily need... It doesn't see you.
Okay, but I said, like, Dance Revolution... Or not Dance Revolution,
you basically need...
Just Dance.
What I would say, in my experience, is you need enough room to do a full lunge.
Okay.
Because that's the furthest I've actually had to spread out. I've had to do a full lunge.
Well, you're a tall person.
And I'm a pretty tall person. So I haven't had an issue with space. I did actually, like, clean up my room, though, so I have, like, a pretty sizable amount of space right now.
Okay.
But you don't need as much room as you need with a Kinect workout game.
So basically, if you have a yoga mat size...
Yeah, if you have a yoga mat size kind of in your rooms, like, that's basically all you'll need.
Okay.
It doesn't require a whole lot of... Because, like I said, a lot of it is basically in place. It's just the stretches that require you to kind of move a little further. And there are some things you do with the ring that require you to lay down.
Yeah.
So a mat is encouraged. Like there was one where I had the ring in between my thighs like this. And basically I was holding it there and moving my, kind of like my core up. And,
yes, that is the actual exercise.
Right, I know, but like I'm trying to show you like what the
I know.
part of this
yes.
is. And the ring moving up and down tells the video game that you're doing it correctly.
Okay.
So that's the science behind it. Is like it's basically they have you place the ring strategically in places where the game will be able to sense that you're doing the move correctly, and there's feedback vocally through the game saying like go lower or like move up a little bit or hold that longer or something like that. That's dynamic by what you're doing. So you're not left to your own devices.
That was a part of the big selling point that the controller and the Joy-Cons for the Switch could tell where you were in a spatial awareness. And I'm kind of happy to see that people are actually using that.
It's like a real way to like prove that HD Rumble stuff wasn't a joke.
Yeah.
Because it will so you have it in the other Joy-Con in your holster this whole time while you're doing that exercise, and if you need to come up. Like, if it's time to come up from if you're down, you'll get a little jolt. It'll rumble a little bit like, hey. Like, it'll remind you, like, oh, shoot. And it's like, oh, that's right. Like, telling me that, like, oh, I could probably play this without the sound and get the same kind of feedback just from the force feedback. It's really cool. This stuff's doing a lot of cool stuff. But, yeah, I definitely recommend it. If you have a Switch, you've been looking for a reason to, like, start a workout routine. It's the new year. You want a new you. This is a really good beginner's tool that I think has enough flexibility for even people who are not beginners.
Okay.
I'm having a lot of fun with it so far, even though I'm a little intimidated by just how much of an actual workout it is. It's gonna be a ramp for me, and I'm realizing that it's not going to be as gentle of a slope as I was hoping it would be.
Well, you could also like crank it down, or crank it up.
So no, I'm at the lowest.
So you're at the lowest?
And I'm already like, after the 2-minute kind of cardio, I'm already like, catching my breath. So,
okay.
Yeah, it's going to be a slow road, but I'm going to get there. So we'll see. What?
I didn't say anything. Or my lack of saying anything, judging you.
Judging me.
Just silently judging. Alright.
It's good stuff.
Sounds like a good game.
It's cool.
Sounds like a really cool activity.
Yeah.
Alright. Well, I did not... I mean, like I said, I went back into Kingdom Hearts for my review.
Yeah.
I'm going to have Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind next week.
Yep.
But, I mean, unless you want to count ESPN Plus...
That's not a video game.
That I played.
That's not a game.
No?
No.
All right. Well, then I didn't play anything.
All right.
Well, I did play a golf game on my phone, but I don't need to talk about that.
Okay, cool. Well, that does it then for video games. That does it for the Media Boat podcast this week. Thank you for joining us. A regular show.
That's a regular show. I didn't think we were going to do that.
Talk about how long it was going to be.
I know. Well, we had, 4 thoughts?
Yeah, but we got through them quickly. And that's what you're supposed to do. Thank you for joining us at the Media Boat podcast. We will be back with another episode next week. We're live on Wednesday nights. If you want to join us live, go to youtube.com. Search Media Boat Podcast, and you'll find our page. Like, subscribe, comment, whatever you want to do. You can even click a bell and get notifications when we go live. If you'd rather, you can also interact with us live by the chat. We do check the chat most weeks. We did not this week.
Yeah, no, we had it up for the first half.
But we're good. And then the other way to watch us, or to listen to us more, rather, is via podcast form. If you want to just hear audio of our show, that's available at most podcast services, such as Apple Podcasts. Just search Media Boat Podcast and you'll find our vast library of episodes. If you want to find us on social media, we're on Twitter. Our handle is @MediaBoatCast. We're on Facebook, Media Boat Podcast. Just search that term and you'll find our page. Comment there as well. You can email us at MediaBoatPodcast@gmail.com. You can watch us occasionally play video games, probably not Ring Fit Adventure, on twitch.tv/MediaBoat. You can find us on Patreon.com if you want to help us out with money. Patreon.com/MediaBoat. Go there, donate to us. You can consider donating as little as $1 a month. Even that small amount can help us make up this show even better. So please consider donating over there on patreon.com/MediaBoat Podcast. Or just MediaBoat. I don't remember. Anyway.
Yeah.
Just find us, MediaBoat. That'll do it. Thank you for joining us for this episode. We'll be back with another episode with Kingdom Hearts thoughts, with Marriage Story thoughts maybe, with
1917
thoughts. Get ready. It's crazy week with Grammy wrap-up, with Oscar prediction? No, not Oscar predictions.
No, Super Bowl predictions.
Super Bowl predictions. All sorts of fun stuff. So please, tune in next week.
Wow, do we ever have a full episode? It's not even next week?
Right.
Well, full episode coming next week. All right, thank you all for tuning in. We'll
see ya.
Be back with more.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Well, we already have a lot for next week?
We already have a stacked week next week.
Oh, speaking of stuff next